लीड कुछ नहीं है, बहुत सिंपल है. लीड इज बेसिकली a database of your potential customers, right? Now, these lead need not be necessarily a qualified lead or an unwanted lead or a redundant lead and so on and so forth. But somewhere or the other, it's like a data which has been collected. And these data which we are talking about, they are all your potential customers. Now, whether you can manage to convert them, that is subjective, but fundamentally, this is what it is, right? अब ये लीड्स हैं, ये लीड्स को थोड़ा सा हम समझते हैं कि लीड्स कैसे जनरेट होती है. एक कंपनी में लीड्स आती हैं तो ये लीड्स कैसे जनरेट होते हैं. नाउ वी कैन डिफाइन दीज लीड्स इनटू टू कैटेगरीज. One is an inbound and the other is an outbound. When we talk about inbound, which means that we are talking about leads getting approached to us, right? I see somebody raising okay. People who are writing in the Q&A, you might have to wait for some time. At the end of the session, we will definitely take up one by one. I hope it's acceptable to everybody, right? So when we are talking about inbound, leads आपके पास में आते हैं through referrals. I have used your services. You will realize that automatically I try and give it my support to, or probably my reference to another brother of mine, or maybe a colleague of mine, asking them, you can also use their services. That's reference. These days, a lot of people are in the online portals. A lot of people visit a lot of websites, and then you'll get a fair understanding of how leads can come down from there. As mentioned to you, online, when we are talking about it, we are talking about different portals, and website is, of course, your own website. And I am presuming that people who are running their own businesses, they do have their own websites. In case if you do not have your website, please go and get one website done for yourself, for your services or your product, whatever you're doing it. Fundamentally, it helps you to project yourself that you are a very serious player, you are a very authentic company, and you are completely liable for whatever the claim which is being made for the product what you're doing it, for the product what you're selling, or the services what you're rendering to. These days, a lot of inquiries do keep coming down by people reading a lot of blogs. आज के तारीख में कंटेंट राइटर्स इतने ज़्यादा फेमस हो गए हैं, उसका रीज़न ही यही है, because the fact is they create a content which is very interesting to read. But in this process of reading, it creates a curiosity, it creates a lot of an interest, and hence you will realize a lot of people approaching that. That's why today's product lines does require a lot of digital marketing support is also required these days. And of course, the fundamentals is the social media. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Quora, all the relevant platforms are Instagram, and all this are all the most relevant these days, where you find an inbound queries keep coming down to you. On the other side, you also realize there are outbound calls. रोज मेरे पास में at least 4 या 5 phone calls आते हैं from some bank and some real estate companies, घर खरीद लीजिए, so on and so forth and all that. So what is it? It's basically they have a certain database and they're trying to make calls to their respective potential customers. You can also manage to get a lot of leads through being participating in events. So maybe exhibitions, such melas and conferences and so on and so forth. So you can find a lot of leads being generated, and these leads are very, very filtered ones, very serious ones, very focused, target-oriented leads. Because somebody has shown an interest in the product, so you can find leads being generated through on a one-on-one. Like you may be probably walking to a company, and then you are generally talking about the offerings what you have, and suddenly you realize there is some sort of an interest has been created. So these are all one-on-one meetings. To supplement the callings, a large database is also equally important these days. And these days you get a very matured, filtered data, right? If at all, let's say you're manufacturing cars, let's say, or manufacturing, let's say, TVs. So you get a very filtered data of people who have bought televisions above 50,000 rupees, a lakh of rupees, so on and so forth. So now, if at all you're manufacturing some product like this, so you can get a right sort of an appropriate database. And of course, when we are talking about platforms, I'm talking about here is the platforms of, let's say, attending conferences. Maybe it could be BNI sessions, right? And such official, such business-oriented platforms, because those are the ones which exactly helps a lead to become more prospective and more relevant. So you will find, you may see your leads coming down in any of these categories, whether it's an inbound or probably an outbound ones, right? So we will see a lot of leads coming down in the form of, let's say, marketing. We may also see it from the perspective of sales, product, and on the services front. एक लीड है, लीड 4 तरीके से आपके पास में आ सकता है. अभी तो हमने कह दिया कि इनबाउंड हो गया, आउटबाउंड हो गया. तो अब ये इनबाउंड में भी मार्केटिंग के थ्रू आ सकता है, या आउटबाउंड में भी हो सकता है, बिकॉज वो प्रोडक्ट आपने उसको टेस्ट किया होगा तो इसलिए आ सकता है. सो यू कैन रियलाइज दैट leads can come down in any form. We have just gone about classifying them into 4 categories. What is marketing leads? Marketing leads are all those leads where your prospective customer has either visited your website, या आपने कुछ कंटेंट ऐसा दिया है कि जहाँ पे वो सब्सक्राइब कर रहा है आपकी चीज़ों को, ठीक है, या तो उसने कुछ आपको अपना ईमेल आईडीज दिए होंगे और उसके थ्रू वो पीरियडिकली आपके साथ में फॉलो अप करता है, जैसे हम बहुत सारी जगह देखते हैं. आई एम श्योर एवरीबडी विल बी एबल टू एक्सपीरियंस दिस. You, if you have a Google account, and then you realize there are so many such mails which keeps coming to you, right? A majority of them are also spam, but there are many areas where you have gone and subscribed, and then you find those insights coming from that particular company. So those leads, and because of those insights which keeps coming to you, there is an interest created, and now you've gone and approached that company कि हाँ चलो मैं आपके सर्विसेज को थोड़ा सा देखना चाहूंगा, और मे बी प्रोडक्ट को देखना चाहूंगा, and so on and so forth. On the other hand, we have the sales leads. Now, the sales leads basically are such leads where a potential customer is seriously trying to ask you what is the features, price कितना है, ये price का comparison करता है, वो features को compare करता है, how relevant it is, what sort of an options do you have. इन सब चीजों पे थोड़ा सा वो detailed interest दिखाता है आपके पास में. So those such leads can be classified into the sales leads. On the other hand, we have the product leads also. When we are talking about product leads, as I told you, one thing is that when you are conducting, let's say, or probably participating in any of the fairs, right, exhibitions and other things, you might have probably gone about distributing a lot of free samplings and freebies and other things. तो हो सकता है कि एक महीने पहले मैंने उस आपके स्टॉल में आया था, I have experienced something, but today I am probably showing their interest. So such leads can be classified into product leads. And of course, service is very, very simple enough. I've been using your services for some time. Maybe it could be typically, let's say, our DTH, right? It could be that, it could be cables, it could be any sort of, let's say, internet connections and other things. So I'm probably using your basic plan, but I would like to get graduated. I want to probably to have a faster speed. Maybe I want to subscribe more. So it could be as simple as that. It could be e-reading as well these days. And e-learning is also another big areas where people are working very extensively on the service part of it. So depends on the business, the nature of your product or your services. You can realize is that the leads which has been generated can be smartly classified under these 4 categories. Fundamentally, lead is one who as an individual has money, जिसके पास पैसा है, जिसके पास में अथॉरिटी है और जिसके पास जरूरत है, नीड है, जिसके पास पैसा है, जिसके पास अथॉरिटी है, जिसके पास नीड है, and hence it is called man. And Pavitra, as rightly she mentioned about it, it's very, very simple is that lead is nothing. Lead is very, very simple is that jiske paas money hai, the guy who has money but unfortunately does not have authority and need, he is not your prospect, he is not your lead, right? It is important that he should be authoritative, he should be in a state to take decisions, he should decide that he needs it, right? This is also equally important. Does he have the ability to take decisions on his own? And more important is उसके पास में क्या वाकई उसको जरूरत है? उसको अगर जरूरत है तो you will realize that you will find the so-called potential customer as your lead itself. So let's understand what are all these stages are there for our lead. When we talk about lead, when we talk about a very prospective and a very constructive lead, so ये lead आता कहाँ है और ये leads के stages क्या हैं, इसको भी थोड़ा सा हम जानते हैं. First is that we get a contact, we get some sort of an insight that there is a prospect, but ये इसका मुझे नहीं पता कि what is his exact requirement, but maybe you can try and connect to him through the contact number. So you get primarily some data about some basic information. It could be an email, it could be a phone number and so on and so forth, right? Now, the moment you get that lead or the contact, right, you start calling up, you start understanding the prospect's requirement, right, and gauge a fair understanding of, okay, this is what he is looking forward. So that falls under the lead category. The moment, because now there is a lead, we have gone and classified them and put them into various buckets. We have also understood, oh, this lead has primarily come down through my product. उसने मेरे product को कहीं test किया था, and he liked it, and hence he has come down. So now you put all that classification is done, and now you reached a stage where you believe that he is a potential customer for us. The moment you see a prospect reaching the stage of being acceptable and receiving your calls and everything, trying to give you as relevant information about what he's looking forward and everything, you see an opportunity. You see that there is an opportunity to make sales now. And hence, you also see sometimes, primarily this particular stages when I'm talking about is on the B2B business. किसी ने आपके सर्विसेज को अच्छा लगा है, वो आपसे इंटरेस्ट भी दिखा रहा है, उसने आपसे कोड भी लिया है, but probably the decision is yet to happen because the fact is there are 2 more other decision makers, and hence you may realize that it has not got converted into a sales, but it is in the stage of getting closure to happen. So that's what we are talking about, stages. Need not be necessary when it comes to a B2C business. So it could be dynamically different. And on the last, you see a final customer. Because the moment you see a prospect, you also see an opportunity, you manage to go and kill and ensure that the conversion is happening. And because of that, you get your customers.